Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Juice Baseball channel. And welcome back to an episode of the Chicago Cubs Legends Fantasy Draft Series here on MLB The Show 25. In the last one, we had the playoff episode, the postseason episode, and it didn't go very well. We only survived to play in the NLDS, and we lost 3-1 to the Arizona Diamondbacks, who went on to play in the World Series but lose to the A's. And I promised that heads would roll in the offseason. So here is me fulfilling that promise. We are going to move a lot of players in this episode. This team is going to look drastically different to what it looks like right now, whether that's signing free agents or just trading people for other players, whatever it's going to be. We're going to be changing a lot of things because I cannot have an NLDS loss in this type of series. We are too good to get to the NLDS and lose. We won 89 games. We weren't even the best team in, like, anything. We were barely the best team in the National League. I mean, the Mets were better than us. So, it's not good. We shouldn't be like this. This is too deep into the series for us to be this bad. We are regressing. So we need to change things. And change things right away. So let's get into the offseason episode. Advance to it all. Our first base coach, Bruce Bochy, has decided to retire. That makes perfect sense. He's very old. Retired players. Nobody that is that noteworthy. I mean, Luis Gonzalez retires at 38 years old due to injury. He had a torn Achilles tendon. Okay. I guess that would end your career at 38 years old. That makes sense. But nobody else that's like super notable. Few names in here. Trevor Bauer's retiring, which is kind of weird. There's names in here, but there's nobody that's like franchise altering that they retired or anything. But now we get to the good stuff. Exclusive free agents and reviewing the staff. So we've got Howard Trevino still being our manager. Chris Woodward is our hitting coach. Ricky Madlock is the pitching coach. Sergio Navarro is the third base coach. And CJ Seamoss is the farm director. We just need a first base coach. And that first base coach is going to be maybe Andres Novoa. It could be him. I think he's got good pluses. But Junior Moreno also could be an option. I'm kind of looking for a guy that's got good speed as a boost. I think that could help us out a lot. The -1 durability for William Ridley is not that bad of an idea. The +2 speed, +2 stealing seems to be pretty good. I think I'm going to go for William Ridley. We're going to offer him $3.5 million over 3 seasons. He should accept that. And then we will have our coaching staff fully done. Exclusive free agents. We've got qualifying offers for Jimmy Rollins, Drew Rasmussen, and Brenton Doyle. And then the rest of the guys we just kind of have to bring back. We've actually got a significant amount of money. 37.5. Which is weird considering who we're paying. So very, very interesting. But a lot of this is going to change because, like I said, a lot of people are going to be moving on to different teams. So let's just offer the contracts. We're going to actually make an offer to Jimmy Rollins instead of paying him the qualifying offer because I think we can actually get him cheaper than paying him. Because the qualifying offer is like 33 or something. We can pay him 27 a year and be cheaper than what he would be asking for anyway. So Drew Rasmussen, I think we're going to do the same thing because we can definitely get him cheaper than $33 million, that's for sure. So we can get him $9 million per year. That's a beautiful deal. And then Brenton Doyle will do the exact same thing because he's not going to really be that expensive. He's going to be more expensive than I would like, and we might even trade him. But 21.5 is perfectly fine for me. And then we'll just offer these random bums contracts just to get them back on the team. Matt Barnes can come back. We just need depth on minor league system. In our minor league system, that's why we offer these guys contracts. So we'll do all that, and hopefully those guys accept their offers and don't accept anybody else's offers. Last time to offer qualifying offers, we are all done there. Everybody's accepted except for Jimmy Rollins and Brenton Doyle. All right. Very interesting. That's not the thing that I wanted to go to. Very, very interesting. We're paying a lot of guys a lot of money, and we're going to be paying more guys a lot of money. But we now open up free agency. I don't even know who's going to be in here. We've got tender contracts and arbitration to offer, so we'll get to that in a second. Let's take a quick peek at who's in free agency. We've got Bob Feller, Lee Smith, Henry Aaron, Babe Ruth, Satchel Paige, Ellie De La Cruz. Look at Ellie De La Cruz up here with all these legendary players. That's kind of funny. Raleigh Fingers, Mason Wynn, Mark Pryor, Wyatt Langford. Okay, so there's some interesting pieces in here. Nobody that's like jump off the page I have to have. Even though Bob Feller's a good player, and Lee Smith is a good player, I don't know if there's anybody that I absolutely have to have on my team right away. So maybe we can focus on just trading. That could be a possibility. Let's get the tendered contracts all done and the arbitration all done, and then we will come back with my decision on who we're going to trade and all that kind of good stuff. So let me get this done real quick, and then we'll be back. Okay, everything has been done. Arbitration has been offered to everybody, and tender contracts have been also finished. We renewed all the contracts, and that leaves us with negative $10 million in available salary. So we're going to have to make those trades, and I think if we move a little bit into free agency, it's not going to matter that much. We do get our one staff position filled, which is pretty nice. But if we move into free agency, we're obviously not going to be able to offer anybody a contract, although Lee Smith might not be a bad idea. So if we're able to free up enough money to bring in Lee Smith, it might not be a bad idea to do it. But the real problem is going to be trying to figure out who gets traded for who. How do we rebuild this team without obviously losing out on talent or money? How do we switch this roster around? Because Garrett Cole did not impress me. Has not really impressed me that much for a while. I mean, he was good the past 2 years, but I mean, he wasn't really that good in the playoffs, was he? How do we get the same level of talent, but cheaper? I mean, Garrett Cole is very cheap, to be fair. He's not making that much money at all. But I want different people, because these guys made me mad. I could keep Garrett Cole, but we could trade Chris Sale, although Chris Sale was pretty good. I think Garrett Cole's probably the one that we do trade, if we're going to trade any starter. But who's it going to be against, or who's it going to be for? We can't trade for Sandy Koufax. He's making far too much money. Jose Fernandez is far too valuable to trade for, unfortunately. And he's still working on that huge contract that he's signed for $60K, which is just unbelievable. I can't believe that CP was allowed to do that. That's not very fair. Felix Hernandez would be a cool addition, but he's expensive and he's probably a little bit too valuable. Although he's available, I can't make that trade not for him at least. If I was going to trade him, I'd probably trade him for Paul Skeens. We'd probably do that because Skeens makes more money than him, or maybe I could trade him for Strasburg. What's the Strasburg and Hernandez combination here? Because this could be a little bit more agreeable. I just have to probably nah, it's not going to work. If I'm going to trade Strasburg, it's going to have to be for somebody that's not super valuable. Felix is a little bit too valuable. The only way I could do it is if I give up Lincecum, which I don't know if I want to do just yet. He is the Cy Young Award winner a couple years ago, or last year. We could do Skeens, obviously, like I said, but I don't think I'm going to do that, so we'll hold off on the Felix trade for right now. We could do Roger Clemens. We could do... Can't really do Scooble, I don't think. Tom Glavine's not going to be possible. I doubt it, although he's had a good year. Is he possible? What do I have to give up? I could give up one of my young prospects. I guess they're not young anymore. They're 26, 27. We have Colby Orozco. We have Cool Papa Bell. We have Ken Frieden. There's not really anybody here that pushes this across, except for A-Rod, obviously. Barry Bonds, obviously. Bryce Harper does. I don't know. I don't know if there's a guy... Not even Sammy Sosa. I don't know if there's a guy that I'd add to this trade that would get me Tom Glavine. Sasaki, McClanahan, Catfish Hunter, Randy Johnson's making way too much. George Kirby at 95 overall is pretty cool. Maddox is making a ton of money, but he had a good year. Martinez, Yuri Perez, Rhett Lauder, Nolan Ryan. The other Nolan Ryan. We have the old Nolan Ryan. This is the slightly younger Nolan Ryan. He hasn't done that much. He hasn't even been that good, really. And he's available, but he's expensive. Super expensive. Especially if we're trading Garrett Cole. Tom Seaver. Everybody's making so much money. I definitely should have turned off salary cap. I completely messed that up when I started this series. That's my bad. I got to remember that with a Legends series, you got to turn the salary cap off because it's just, it gets too expensive with all these guys making so much money. So many extra players in the pool making so much more money. You simply can't afford it. You simply can't afford it. I don't think there's a trade partner for Garrett Cole now that I look at it. I mean, he's so affordable and he's not that valuable. He's only a little over a bar. He's a little over a bar. He's basically not even a bar and a half of value. So I don't think there's a trade partner for him. The Paul Skeens one is very interesting. Do we pull the trigger on a Paul Skeens Felix Hernandez deal? That could be pretty fun. How old was where's he at? Felix Hernandez, if I can find him here. There he is. He's 32. He's had a really good year last year. He's been very consistent. He hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't been like electric. But King Felix could definitely be a guy. I could definitely see this being a trade that we make. Although Skeens has a lot more control. Very expensive, but a lot more control. Hernandez has only got 2 years. What do I want to do? This is probably the only trade that it would work with, because I don't think I'm going to trade Lincecum, even though I probably should. I want to trade Sabathia, but it's not going to work for this trade. And obviously Strasburg, I'm probably going to trade, but it's not going to work for this trade either. So, the only way that I can get Felix Hernandez, if I want him that badly, is to get rid of Paul Skeens, to trade him for Hernandez. Now, if I was going to get super greedy, I would toss in somebody else alongside it, since there is value left over. But who is that extra person? Kirby Puckett could be cool. He's got arbitration, and then he's a free agent. He's had some pretty solid seasons. But he is kind of regressing at 30, so maybe that's not the move. Oh, they have Ichiro, that's right. I do want Ichiro. Maybe we just go for like a massive trade. Maybe we go for a massive trade where we trade Sammy. Because I have been talking about trading Sammy, and I do want Ichiro on my team at some point. But who's that extra piece that gets this across? A-Rod pushes it. But I'd have to get back another player of value, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. So I can't trade A-Rod. Chris Sale does it. None of the other starters do it. I don't really want to get rid of Chris Sale for nothing, really. Because if I'm getting rid of Chris Sale, I want to get another starting pitcher back in return. And Chris Sale was good last year. But I do think he's probably the best option to trade, because I'm not going to trade A-Rod in this. If I'm going to trade A-Rod, it's going to be for somebody else. Even though if I put him in, it does go through, I think I'm going to trade. I think I could trade Chris Sale. 2 starting pitchers would be pretty rough. Especially because Chris Sale was so good for us. I guess I could kind of cheese it and turn him back into a relief pitcher, make him a little bit easier to trade back if I wanted him back. But that's pretty grimy. I could do this. I really could. I wasn't planning on trading Chris Sale, but presented the opportunity of getting Ichiro, which I've wanted the entire series so far. I feel like I gotta do it. And I've been wanting to trade Sammy, so he's going to get out of here. He's been on the team since... he's been only on the team for 2 years. I thought he was on here longer than that. But I think Sammy's going to get out of here. We bring in Ichiro to be the number 1 right fielder for us. I think that makes the most sense. I think this is going to be the deal that I do. Somehow we'll have to see if we can get Chris Sale back. If I do have to resort to turn him into a relief pitcher to make him a little bit easier to trade for. I mean, hey... He was a relief pitcher in the save file. I specifically turned him into a starting pitcher to benefit me. So if I'm going back the other way, it's still benefiting me. So it's not like I'm changing anything. You get it. You know what I'm talking about. And I don't care what you think. So if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. But I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to make this trade because I've wanted Ichiro for so long, and now we finally have him on the team. Ichiro Suzuki is finally a Chicago Cub. It's been so long since we started this series. I wanted him. I really did, and he's here. Welcome aboard, Ichiro Suzuki. We also have now Felix Hernandez, a new fun starting pitcher. I think the CC Sabathia trade's probably next up. But who can I get for CC? He's got no value. He was not very good. Actually, you know what? He won a lot of games, but that's because he was in the bullpen. For most of the season, at least. Who can I trade for CC Sabathia? He's making a lot of money, $29 million. I mean, it's not that much money in the grand scheme of this league and who else is making a ton of money. But he is making a good chunk of change. We could get George Kirby if we wanted to. He didn't pitch very much at all. He must have been in the bullpen last year. Or maybe he got hurt. I'm not sure. But he moved to Milwaukee and didn't pitch. He pitched 2 games. He started 2 games. Very strange. He must have got hurt or something. I'm not sure. But the years before that, he has not pitched very well. He's a 95 overall. I don't know. Valenzuela is going to be impossible to get. Pedro's impossible. We could maybe try to swing a trade for Yuri, but I don't think that's going to be the right idea. Nolan Ryan, Corbin Burns, Whitey Ford, Holiday, Vita Blue maybe? Vita Blue could be interesting. Catfish Hunter, Sandy Koufax. There's Jose Fernandez. Again, not going to be able to get him. Logan Gilbert's a possibility. He had a fine season last year. Shohei is going to be way too expensive and hard to get. Too valuable. There's Chris Sale and Paul Skeens. We loaded up the Tigers, by the way. Let's see. We tried Oswald before. Alberto Mendoza did not have a very good year at all, but he's growing. He's only 20. Clemens Crochet. Man, I don't really know where to go with this. This is a tricky spot to be in. A tricky spot. Maybe Leon Day. Is he a good pitcher? 9 for 11, 4.38. It wasn't amazing. I keep coming back to the Tom Glavine one because I think the Tom Glavine one could be really good to get, but he's just not attainable for what I'm trying to trade away. Kerry Wood could be cool. He struggled, but maybe he's going to turn it around. That could be a nice addition to the team. Maybe we try to get Kerry Wood. What can I give back in return? I could probably give back this closing pitcher because we're not going to need him. We already have a bunch of other ones that are better dev trait and younger. So we already have those guys. We could give up maybe an outfielder like Gabriel Martinez. That gets it done. Kerry Wood, welcome to Chicago again. I know in real life you pitched for Chicago, but welcome back. So Kerry Wood's here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 starters. And if we end up changing and bringing back Chris Sale, that could be our 5th starter. But Strasburg's probably got to get out of here. So if I don't end up bringing back Chris Sale, I would like to have another option other than Steven Strasburg. Because for some reason, Strasburg has fallen off a cliff. So we're going to have to figure something out here. But who is that other starter going to be? Is it going to be Lodolo? Probably not. Corbin Burns is too expensive. Biebs. It could be Shane Bieber, but he's horrible as well. It's got to be somebody that's not super expensive. That's at least what I would prefer. What about Schwellenbach? He's got arbitration. This could be a possibility. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. I haven't decided who this trade piece is going to be. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be like a Matt Manning type of person? That's not really that interesting or exciting, is it? Matt Manning doesn't jump off the page. Mizorowski, former Cub. He actually won 10 games last year for the Rangers. Had a horrible ERA, but it was better than what he had with us. So, I mean, maybe he's progressing? I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on him. There's Leon Day. Again, he's got too much value. Alcantara. Jackson Jobe. Roki Sasaki. Sasaki's got arbitration. He struggled. I probably could get Roki Sasaki if I absolutely wanted him. Tanner Bybee, Johnson, Arrieta. How'd Jake Arrieta do? Not great. Okay. Good to know. When did he win the Cy Young? 2015. Man, I remember that. That's crazy. And he won the Silver Slugger in 2016. I forgot about that. God, Jake Arrieta had a wild couple of seasons. He was so good these 2 years. Man, my God, 177. I forgot how dominant he was. Dear Lord. That's right in my prime of being a teenager, so I was 15 years old during that season. That's crazy. Man, I remember that season too. That was crazy. Insane. What did he do to win the Silver Slugger that year? He hit 262, 17 hits. This is before they had like DHs for the National League. So this is just, these are just crazy numbers for a pitcher. He had 2 home runs. Dear Lord, Jake Arrieta. I forgot about that. It's an insane season. Let's see. It could just go back to Kirby. Maybe we just go for Kirby because I'm very curious of why he didn't pitch very much. And this is just a straight 1-for-1. I'm okay with doing that. Strasburg goes to the Brewers. We grab George Kirby just in case I decide not to go back to Chris Sale. But I could always go back to him if I decide to. But that's a new look starting rotation. We keep Garrett Cole, we keep Tim Lincecum, but we add in Felix Hernandez, George Kirby, Kerry Wood to the starting rotation. The bullpen, I am talking about possibly getting rid of Andy Pettitte. We've had him for a while now. He's been here since 2026, so he's been here for a long time. He's been good, been very good for us, but I think it's time to get a new face into the organization. We had Ubaldo for 2 seasons. Who's another bullpen arm that I like? Bob Gibson's interesting. He had 48 saves. Very cool. There's Jacob deGrom. Bob Gibson could be an idea. I don't think I've ever had him on my teams before. Not that I can remember, at least. Gagne's interesting. He's going to be a free agent after the season, though. We could make the trade. Do I want him or do I want Bob Gibson? Bob Gibson's 37 and he's slightly getting worse, so maybe it's not the smartest idea to go after him. And Gagne is only 32. I could see a move for this. He's slightly cheaper. Although getting Craig Kimbrell would also be pretty nasty. Maybe we get Kimbrell. And I can toss in somebody else. I don't know who I'd have to toss in. Probably K-Rod, I would assume. But I kind of don't want to give up K-Rod. Although he hasn't been like that good of a... I mean, he had 46 saves last year. 2 years ago, I guess now at this point. And he's super cheap. Is there a way I can pull both of these guys at the same time? Probably not. Everybody that I click on, I can't trade. Jackson Churio. If I trade no, not Jackson Churio. Jason Churio. That's got to be his brother, right? I have no idea. He's actually pretty valuable. Kevin McGonigal, or McGonigal, whatever his name is, he's pretty valuable. Colson Montgomery's fairly valuable. All right, there's some people down here that are slightly valuable. Christian Campbell gets it across. Mike Tejada does. Of course he does. Xavier Isaac pushes it through. I think there's a combination where I can get away with not giving up anybody too valuable here. I could give up Alec Thomas, but I don't really have any depth there. I can give up Miguel Perez. You know what? I probably should do that. Gagne and Kimbrell for Andy Pettitte. Boom. Now we've got another closer. We can move Francisco to just regular bullpen work. And then we have Gagne now. I like that a lot. That's a big addition. We've got Joe Torre. He's been here for 3 seasons. It's probably time to move on from him, but he's been an unbelievable catcher for us. He's been one of our best players, really. But I think it's time to get a new face in here, so let's see who else we can grab. Maybe a little Pudge action. Pudge a little too valuable. Okay, get it. Josh Gibson, he is 36. All the catches are super valuable, jeez. Ted Simmons, he's got some good contact. There's the pizza man, Mike Piazza. The big dumper. We could get the big dumper, but he's regressing pretty heavily. That would not be a smart idea to grab him. And then you got Yogi Berra. Is there any way I can grab Yogi? Probably not, right? I'd probably have to give up way too much. I'd have to give up Soriano. Or obviously A-Rod. Or Barry Bonds or Bryce Harper or Ichiro. Yogi, I mean, Yogi's probably the one that I want the most. I don't think it's going to happen. Joe Mauer, Harry Ford, Jake Rogers. We might just have to keep Joe Torre because I'm not sure I'm finding another legendary catcher that's going to be somewhat easy to grab. Because all the catchers are fairly hard to get. We could get the pizza man, Mike Piazza. He's 33. His home run production has gone down, but his average went up. He's probably the most attainable because Yogi's kind of crazy. What's his trade preference? Ben Clark and Churio. That's not that much at all. I mean, it's good prospects, but I thought that'd be a little bit harder. What about if we throw in Joe Torre? Nobody combined with Joe Torre. What if I throw Clark to you? Well, that works. I don't know why they said that. But Churio doesn't get it across if I would just throw him in there. He probably has no way of starting, but I'd like to keep him on here for a possible other trade, maybe. I got to stop hoarding prospects. The prospects are specifically here to make trades happen for other legendary players. That's the whole point of this series. So I got to stop hoarding prospects. And Ben Clark would be the 3rd highest rated pitcher on this Nationals roster. So he'd actually get some big league playing time. You know what? I'm going to let Ben Clark go to the Nationals and start in the bigs. If it means getting me Yogi Berra, I'm going to do it. Ben Clark, enjoy the bigs. I hope you do well. We've got a new catcher. They actually have him lower than Noble Meyer, but I'd put him ahead of Noble Meyer. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. We'll keep an eye on the Nationals, though. And we have a new catcher in Yogi Berra. Pretty sick there. We have Delgado and Howard, which I think I'm going to keep. I'm going to keep Delgado because he had a really good year. But I could be persuaded to get rid of Ryan Howard. And maybe we go for a guy like Jeff Bagwell. That could be pretty fun. I don't think we've ever had Jeff Bagwell. Not that I can remember, at least. And I think if I give up this D potential prospect, or maybe the C potential guy that's 27, we get Jeff Bagwell for Ryan Howard. Boom, bada bing. That's a new face, and he's higher overall than Delgado. I didn't realize that. All right, Soriano we're going to keep around because I like him. And then A-Rod, Jimmy Rollins I like a lot. Barry Bonds we're going to keep. Probably. Harper we're going to keep for now. And then obviously Ichiro. So I guess the only other position would be A-Rod. Now A-Rod's got a ton of value. He's almost got a bar and a half. So who would I even be able to get? Chipper Jones? I could get Chipper easily. I could get Chipper so easily. Do I want Chipper? I don't know. I don't know if I want to even trade A-Rod. There's not really a third baseman that equals what A-Rod. I could get Pete Rose very, very easily. I could get something else even. Probably not Gunnar Henderson, but I could get something. I can get Adam Dunn. I can get the big donkey. The donkey. And I could also get J.J. Gonzalez. If I traded A-Rod, I'd have to throw in a scrub like this guy, Evan Ertl. But I can get Pete Rose, Adam Dunn, and a top prospect for A-Rod. That's how much value he has. Is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to do? He's got a massive contract, Pete Rose does. He won the MVP in 2025, so the first year we did it. Is this what I want to do? Do I want the big donkey? Donkey! I kind of want to move on from A-Rod. It's been fun with A-Rod, but I don't know. I think it might be better to move on from him. And we can always get him back in free agency if he makes it there. So I think we might do this trade. Get some fresh faces in there. A-Rod moves to the Yankees. That's funny. I didn't realize we were trading with the Yankees. A-Rod moves to the Yankees. We get a new third baseman. We also get a new left fielder bat in Adam Dunn. And we get a prospect in J.J. Gonzalez who we could throw in another trade because look at that value. He's got a bar and a third, or not even a third, a little bit over a bar of value. So we could toss him in a trade at some point and maybe get somebody else pretty good. I think those are some pretty nice additions to the squad. We do have to renew the contract of J.J. Gonzalez. We've offered arbitration to everybody. So with that money, we now have $26 million. We can offer Lee Smith a contract if we wanted to. We can't afford a Henry Aaron, I guess. Elliot de la Cruz, we can't afford. We can afford Mark Pryor. He's not asking for that much. That could be an interesting one. I kind of want to go for Lee Smith. Kind of want to toss him in and see if maybe we could bring him in. There's the Yankee trade for A-Rod. There's the Bagwell trade. There's the Yogi Berra trade. There's the Craig Kimball trade and the Kerry Wood trade and the Chris Sale trade. All right. We get to the 40-man roster stuff. Who do I want on the 40-man? We've got 39, so we have one spot open. But out of all these guys, would I care if any of them get taken off in the Rule 5? I mean, Alek Thomas would kind of be annoying because he's depth. But it's not like he's going to play for us in the bigs. Cool Papa Bell. Mason Albright. The rest of these guys aren't going to get taken, so I don't worry about them. Alek Thomas is kind of would be an annoying one if he did get grabbed, and I have a spot open. Jared Kelenic wouldn't be the worst thing if he got taken. Arias I don't care about. Oh, J.J. Gonzalez definitely would get grabbed. I got to add him to the 40-man. Definitely got to add him to the 40. I do not want somebody grabbing him. He could play Major League Baseball right away, so don't want him getting taken. The rest of these guys, Elroy Sheehan, I mean, I don't think he's going to get taken. I would be shocked if he did. I'd be shocked if all three of these guys got grabbed. I don't think they will. If they do, it's going to be annoying because those are good trade pieces. But Alek Thomas is kind of the only other one. Jason DeLay, I don't care. I don't want him on the roster, so we don't need him on there. I will put Alek Thomas only for the sole fact that I need him for depth in the center field position because our center field depth is very, very thin. So we need him for that alone. I also want to keep Arnold Cato because he's so good. We've got Collier, Chury. Oh, we have all these guys on the 40-man. I thought they said that we didn't. Or then I don't care about that anymore. I think that's the last guy we needed to put on there. So let's keep moving on. Today's the day to offer contracts. Are we allowed to offer Lee Smith now? Gary Carter. Pirates are trying to get him. I'm not interested in Gary Carter. We have a 69% chance. That's huge to motivate or to sign Lee Smith. We can make a pretty decent offer here. If I go 1501 for 4 years, I think he'd accept that. That leaves us with $11 million. The signing will include a competitive balance tax. This tax will be deducted from your off-season budget. Good to know. That leaves us with a little bit of money available. If we wanted to go dip our toe in another pool here, we could go for like a Brian Wu. Woo! Or we could go right back to the bullpen and continue to try to make it as good as possible. Ooh, a young Pedro. Hello. Oh, I think I got to add him. Lee Smith is a righty relief pitcher. Pedro is a righty relief pitcher as well, because we could turn him into starter just like we did with Chris Sale. How do I switch to Discord chain? How do I... Oh, just go to... Oh, right here. I didn't even see that. That's what I was trying to do. Right-handed pitching... Okay, so that's a 2% spot. Ooh. If we do plus 2% bonus a week, that could be pretty good. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to lock in those changes and see if Lee Smith accepts that contract or not. Pedro Martinez, now or never. Here we go. I am going to offer him a contract. $9 million. We're going to bump that up to $10 million for 3 seasons. And I'm going to hope that he accepts that contract, because we can always turn him into a pitcher. Here comes the contract decision. What are you going to make, Pedro? Are you going to make the right choice? Oh, here we go. Show me that pen and contract. No, it's the phone. That's not a good thing. That means he declined it, and he chose another team. He chose the Marlins. They offered him 4 years, 10.27, so they offered us a little bit more than we did. They offered him a little bit more than we did. Here comes the Lee Smith decision, though. Man, I kind of wanted Pedro. And they show me the pen, which means he signed. So we get Lee Smith, but we do not get... That's another big-time addition to the squad in the bullpen. The bullpen's going to go crazy this year. At least that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. So we got Cole, we got Lincecum, we've got Felix, Kirby, and Kerry Wood. And then the bullpen consists of Kimbrel, Lee Smith, Gagne, and K-Rod. And then you got Zimmerman and Rasmussen as long relief. Lovelady, Jimenez, and K-Rod down here in the middle relief. And then you've got the setup men in Gagne and Lee Smith. And then you've got Kimbrel to shut the door. This bullpen's going to be electric. But that stinking... Man, I was hoping Pedro would accept that contract. That would have been a snipe. That would have been an absolute snipe. And now we got 41 on the 40, man. So somebody's got to come off. Who's going to be the guy to come off? It might actually be one of the relief pitchers. Oh, no, it's going to be Charlie Condon. I don't think he's going to make it to the bigs anytime soon, so Charlie's going to come off the 40-man. He might get claimed off of waivers. There's a good shot he does, but it's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to be annoying for depth purposes, but we'll just sign something for agency, I guess. That leaves us with $8 million in available budget. We could go for a guy like Clayton Kershaw, young Clayton Kershaw. I wonder what happens if I turn him into a starter. It's probably the same thing that happened with the other guys. So let's look for possible depth pieces at right field. There's nobody. Everybody's out of my range. The only guys that are in my budget are pitchers. All right, I didn't realize that was going to be a thing. Okay. Well, I wouldn't mind Clayton Kershaw, if only for depth in the minors. He's cleared out by waivers. Okay, pretty sick. Nobody claimed him. Ellie De La Cruz goes 10 years, 289 for the Red Sox. That's kind of wild. We don't have any more tender contracts, so we're good there. Bob Feller also going to the Red Sox, 7-year deal. Wyatt Langford to the Brewers. Today's the day to offer contracts. Can I get Kershaw on a cheap deal? He's not going to want that much money. And I don't think anybody's going to go after him, so we can kind of wait on this. The draft lottery, we are picking later in the first round, but we don't have any hope for a first-round picks, or number 1 pick, so it doesn't matter. We'll see where it goes, though. The Twins jump up 3 spots, get the number 1 overall spot. We pick at 24. Perfectly fine. We knew that we weren't going to be drafted anyway. That's not the point. Miguel Amaya gets taken in the Rule 5 draft. A couple of people have gotten taken. The Orioles taken 2 people. Kind of rare. But none of our guys get grabbed. Not shocked. Mason Wynn signs a 6-year, $151 million deal with the Padres. Okay. That's kind of sick. Satchel Paige goes to the Mets on a 1-year deal. What's our motivation up to? Here we go. Lucas Ursig. I don't really want him. But we're up to 51 or 54% on Kershaw, so we can offer him a contract. Although this is going to really hurt our budget if we do offer him. But I think it'll be good in the end. We're going to see what happens with Kershaw. And here's the decision. He says no? No dice, that offers on ice? What are you, a rhymer? A poet? Up the ante with some heat, and I'll tout this. What the heck did he just say? I had a stroke reading that. 5 years for Raleigh Fingers to the Yankees, who just got they just got A-Rod. So apparently he didn't like what I offered him. So I can give him 8.5, I guess, for 3 seasons. Is he gonna like that? I can't go much higher than that. Babe Ruth goes to the Mets. 5-year deal. Here comes another decision. And he has decided to sign. Cubbies get a new player. And if I go in here, he's an 81 overall right now. What about if I move him to starter? What does he change to? He becomes a 91. Huge. Actually huge. He has no more options, so he does have to stay up here. And we have one guy on the... Who's on the double A? Oh, it's Alec Thomas, that's right. Well, now that he's off of... Now that we're away from the Rule 5, if I put him through waivers, I wonder if he'll get claimed. Kind of be annoying if he does. We'll see what happens, though. Then I got to take 2 guys off the big league roster. We can move a bullpen guy now because Kershaw's going to be in the bullpen as a super long relief. So we can move somebody else off. Jimenez probably can't move down because of the 5 years of service thing. Lovelady's got the same deal. He's been offered arbitration, so we can't even move him down anyway. It's going to have to be Jimenez being designated for assignment, I think. Or moving from the 40-man. Let's move him from the 40-man. Let's see what happens to him. And then other than that, we need to move somebody else down. Jason Dominguez probably deserves to make the team at this point. But what about Big Christmas? John Kenzie, I don't know what I want to do with you. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We don't have to decide yet because the whatchamacall is coming, the spring training, so it's not like we have to decide just yet. Mark Pryor signs a 4-year demand. The Mets are spending a ton of money. The Mets are spending a ton of money. We are going to probably have to make at least one move for these arbitration deals. Because right now, I'm assuming those guys made it through waivers, right? Willie Adames is in the waiver wire. Did he make it? Yeah, Alec Thomas made it through the waivers. And who else did I move down? Jimenez. Jimenez made it through as well, so perfect. They both made it through. They didn't get claimed. So I guess our budget looks like negative $1 million. Not ideal. We're going to be super negative once those guys choose to sign their contracts. I mean, we could dump Bryce Harper's money for a center fielder that's cheaper, like Kenny Lofton. That could be kind of fun. But I like Bryce Harper. That's the problem. We could get Julio Rodriguez. He's already 29, though. I mean, Bryce is 27. Andrew Jones, we can't get him just yet. I don't even know if we would be able to get him. Griffey would be cool, but he's far too expensive. That'd just be a random move. Josh Hamilton's another guy that I'd like to have, but we can't get him just yet. Beltran is way too expensive for what I'm trying to do. The only guy would be Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton would be a fun one. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a good bat. He's not a power guy like Bryce is. Bryce has been so good for us, though. I don't know. He's the only guy that I was thinking maybe we could trade to free up that money. I guess we could just go into the negative. It's not like the end of the world. Let's see what happens. So the panel sides with Dickie Lovelady. They side with us against John Kenzie. They side with us for Jason Dominguez and for us for Kelenic. They side with Clevenger. They side with Evan Carter, and then they side with us for Cam Smith, and that is it. So after every arbitration deal has been finished, where does that leave everything? Negative $9 million. You know, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, actually. We're paying a lot of guys a lot of money, though. We definitely changed this team up, the look of this team. That is for sure. And I think that is everything that I'm going to do in free agency. Henry Aaron finally signs a deal at the buzzer. $149 million, 7 years. But I think that's all that I'm going to do for free agency this year. I don't think I'm going to go any crazier. We moved to the spring, and that's going to do it for this episode. This offseason episode went kind of crazy. We got new additions in Garrett Cole, or in Felix Hernandez, George Kirby, Kerry Wood, Clayton Kershaw's now new, or at least back. He might have been here before. No, he wasn't here, actually. Or maybe he was. I don't remember. Who cares? We got Lee Smith and Eric Gagne new. We got Craig Kimbrell. We got Yogi Berra. Bagwell's new. Pete Rose is new. Ichiro Suzuki's new. I mean, we changed this team up a lot. So I'm hoping year number... What is this going to be? Year number 6? Is it going to be year number 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're entering year number 6 of the dynasty, of the franchise. I'm hoping that year number 6 gets us back to the World Series and back to the championship, like winning a championship, because we've made it to the World Series, twice and lost one? Yeah, we've made it 2 years to the World Series, won one, lost one, but then ever since we lost that World Series, we've been slowly regressing each series. We lost the World Series, then we lost the NLCS the next year, then the last year we lost the NLDS. So if the pattern continues, we're going to lose the NL wild card this year. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm hoping we get back to the World Series and we actually win it. But that's going to do it for me in this offseason episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.